Well. Another week has ended, and we've got new pre-season stuff in Chaos Zero Nightmare. Well, I've been playing quite a bit of it. Though I haven't played as much as I thought I would of the regular Chaos mode. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, actually, let me run an ad at the same time. It feels like it should just do the 30-minute pre-thing, but I don't know. We'll run an ad, and then we'll figure however that goes. But no, maybe I suppose I'll do a bit of preamble stuff while we wait for the ad to run out. So, this week, I'm gonna put out the blue flavor video. I promise. This time I will. I'm also editing the next batch of clips. I need to, kind of figure out if... So, one of the ideas that I had was to not only do clips, but maybe even 2 posts per day? I don't know. I don't know how much or how frequent I make posts, but I do want to be able to create more opinionated content. And hello, Silent Scythe. Welcome. How are you doing? How's your weekend been, man? I've been pretty okay myself. Just a bit tired, if anything. To be fair, like right before this, I was napping. I've just been so kaput. I've been so sleepy as of late, and I thought to myself, well, I should probably get a little bit of a nap going before I have stream. And you know when you take a power nap and you just end up sleeping like way more? Man, it was so comfy. I love my bed. I've got so many pillows and everything supporting my back, my head, my arms, everything, and man, I could just doze off and sleep for a good chunk of time. Quite easily, honestly. Quite easily. I also had some ideas for what I want to do once I begin introducing some of the more variety stuff. And I'm thinking Chaos Zero Nightmare might not be on that list. It might not be on that list, so I wanna try play this a little bit. At least while there's some new content to talk about. The weekend was poop, needed to work overtime. Ooh, I'm sorry to hear, man. That really sucks. I get that, though. It's always unfortunate whenever a weekend has to be used for something like work, because you would imagine that the weekend is like time to chillax and use it to recuperate your energy, but then having to work at the same time for that, I don't know. It's quite draining. I get it. I feel that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little bit of a slacker, but I think we need to go to having like 3-day-long weekends. Because if you think about it, if you've got one day where you recuperate all your energy and then the next day you do a whole bunch of chores and whatnot, you've not got a day to do anything for yourself, you know? So that's why I think to myself, like, maybe we need 3 days. Maybe either you have it as, like, a disjointed day, or you have it at the same time, like, all compounded, like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But you know what? Maybe if we remove Mondays, the stigma for it will be gone, and then people will actually like Mondays. But I don't know. Maybe it's good we have a unified enemy with Mondays, and we just dislike it as much as we do, so it keeps us going. I would love Sundays and Wednesdays off. Yeah, Wednesdays I feel like is in the middle of the week maybe too much? I don't know. I'm thinking to myself, like, if we were to pick one more day that ended up being taken off, I feel like a Thursday would be pretty good. Because even though you've got, let's say, your full rest over the 2 weekends, so assuming that you have a normal schedule with Monday to Friday being your regular weekdays, and then you've got Saturday, Sunday as your regular weekend days off, then you have maybe Thursday as another day to have off, and then you can just rest on Thursday, then you do a bit of work on Friday, and then you just have the weekend to do the rest of it. I don't know. I feel like I've watched a psychology video sometime long ago talking about this concept, that maybe we move from it, but I don't know. It's not like they'll incorporate it. Man, I wish they did. I wish they did. Let me also just change my screen to the actual game so I can have something going on in the background at the same time of me just talking. Because I figure, you know, I talk a lot, so why not have something to go in the background as well? Maybe it's just me, but I feel like I need to have something in the background at the exact same time. To always go about it, and then I'll just like play some gameplay or whatever. We won't be doing my dailies, I'll be doing like actual content at the same time. 4-day work week? I think so. I think so. 4-day work week, but maybe you can have either the 3 of them connected. But what makes more sense, I wonder? Does it make more sense to have 3 days joined together, or does it make more sense to have 4 days of, or 1 disjointed day instead of 4 days of continuous work? Subway Surfers in the background. Unfortunately, I'm not even good at Subway Surfers. Plus, I barely play that enough, so that probably won't help. I was thinking of doing a Divine Intervention run, but honestly, that Nihilum one looked pretty bad because it ends your turn after a certain amount of cards, which would be really boring with Typhira in the party. I don't know if I'm gonna roll for the new character. The new character is kind of okay. But obviously there are some cards that are just like built for her. We'll do Kirkins instead. At the end of the turn, if AP is remaining, increase stress by 2. Yeah, it's whatever. We'll do this one. I like Kirkins the most because it's a pretty lady that does it, but also because it's one of the best buffs in the game. Unfortunately, it is passion, though, so can't really decide on a good setup, but I've got plenty of resources anyway. We'll just do this. I'm not sure. Having the work days broken up would be good, but with the type of guy I am, I'd like days of continuous rest. I feel the same. I think one of the things that comes as a result of having all of the days in a row is that you can stay up really late if you have 3 days in a row, and you can sleep in on some of them. Because one of the issues that I have as a result of, if you were to split it up, what you end up doing, right, is you have 1 day of recuperation, 1 day of work, and then you have another day where you feel like you have to recuperate, but you can't stay up late on one of those days, so you end up just waking on time anyway. But maybe that's a good thing for people. I don't know. I think at least that having some kind of rest day makes a lot more sense than having none at all, which is why I would say that I at least feel like having 3 days off a week makes more sense. I don't know, maybe I'm going back to my peasant roots, back of the medieval times, but I feel like having my work schedule be rather dictated by when the sun rises, and then having time to myself and then not, makes more sense. But perhaps I'm just making things up, and I'm a medieval peasant, you know? What's up? Yo, Wilson Wiz, how's it going, man? How have you been? I remember you catching the cusp or the end of the other stream the last time, but it's been a while. How have you been? What's up? Yeah, I love the what's up scene. It reminds me of a scary movie. What a silly scene. Those movies are so fun as well. Weren't they making a new one? I think I read the news a bit ago, and then thinking of movies has me thinking about how they're making an Elden Ring movie. I still don't know how that's going about. I think, was it D6 and we were talking about it, the new Elden Ring movie. I feel like one of the issues that's always a byproduct, maybe this is just like one of these, bygone days of how they made video game movies back in the day, but it feels just like a cash grab, and I don't know if that's going to continue to be the case with the Elden Ring one. I really hope not. They've got some of the game directors working on it, so Yeah, I took it from the movie. Exactly. Yeah, no, it works really well. I think it's really silly, if anything. I at least like it. I think we do Hue since I've got the +2 or whatever. A24 goated. Is A24 animation studio? Wait, A24 studio. Are they animation or what are they? New York-based independent entertainment company founded in 2012 by. Oh, okay. So it. Oh, okay. It's a distributor of it. Yeah. I'm not too familiar with any of the actual workings behind it, except I can name one entire studio and its crew, and that's Markiplier, with Markiplier and Markiplier as being the director, writer, producer, and also the rendering company or whatever that he had for his entire setup, where he said he turned his entire bathroom into a CG rig or whatever it was. Create a 100 draw palette each. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how that one goes. I saw that they had recently hired new people for it, but even when it comes to different types of video game movies, I feel like doing live action is a choice. It's certainly a choice. I always feel like even if you do make a live action movie, adapting something like fantasy always feels so conflicting, you know? So they're the studio for the Elden Ring movie? Yeah, I get that. But, like, when it comes to the actual studio itself making a live-action movie, fantasy on its own feels kind of weird, right? Like, why would you make a live-action of fantasy? I get it works for Lord of the Rings or something like that, but I honestly feel like you would be better off with something animated. Hello, Helios. Welcome. How you been, dude? How's your weekend? Because, I don't know, in my opinion, if you relegate yourself to doing live-action fantasy, doesn't that feel so much more difficult than trying to do live-action on, I don't know, an animated basis? Am I wrong about that? I might be wrong about that. Maybe it's cheaper, but all the practical effects and everything seem really expensive. And then just trying to make it look convincing. Because that's the thing with fantasy, right? You want it to feel convincing. Oh no, I agree. I feel like they're doing it to prevent it from essentially being seen as a game cutscene. Oh, that could be true, yeah. Now I'm thinking of, like, if the reason why they're going for Elden Ring as a live action is because it gives it some kind of a sense of seriousness. I don't know if that's the right way to personify it, but it makes me think that maybe they're doing it as a live action movie because it makes it feel, or makes it be taken more seriously by a moviegoer crowd. Like, in contrast, if you were to make it all animated or whatever, people in the West might see it as a bit juvenile, or if you make it with video game cutscenes all the way through with the already existing character models and everything, maybe they just won't take it seriously. Maybe they'll think to themselves like, oh, well, I mean, that's not for me in that case. So, I don't know, I think that's actually a pretty plausible case. Just got the last few pieces of furniture, so now my tiny one-room apartment is actually all tidy and stuff. That's nice. What? Okay. If you had to pick a certain amount of furniture that defines your apartment, what do you think are the most important pieces? Because I think that, I mean, okay, besides my computer and everything like that, I genuinely think that having a bunch of paintings, even if your rooms are kind of empty, you can basically turn your house into an art gallery, and I think people excuse that more than they excuse a mostly empty walled apartment. Because whenever you walk into an apartment or into a house and you don't have a whole lot of furniture or a whole lot of things in your house, apartment, or whatever, in your living space, you end up with a bunch of comments saying it doesn't look like it's lived in. But if you have a whole bunch of pictures, paintings, and things thrown about or whatever, then they're like, oh yeah, it looks really lived in. But it's not furniture dependent. So I feel like the most important furniture is live, laugh, love paintings on my walls. All over. Draped all over my apartment or my house. So, yep. That's how we roll, I suppose. But yeah, for a sense of legitimacy, I would imagine that they chose to go with live action in that case. But I do feel like had they gone with Elden Ring being a fully, I don't know, video game cutscene, CGI, whatever they want to go with, maybe that would have invalidated them as being taken seriously. But then again, there was like Alita Battle Angel, wasn't there? And that one was well received. And then there's always been like these blend of real life and animated movies that have come out, and those seem to have some legitimacy to them. But I don't know how they would react to Elden Ring supposedly being fully animated or whatever. But I do think that being sold as a fantasy movie of some kind, that having an animated movie kind of makes more sense. I think so, at least. Because why would you try to sell a fantasy world and not have a whole bunch of flashy effects for it? Let's see. I agree with you. Animation is seen as childish, but I feel like the Spider-Verse is working against that. 100% agreed. I think maybe it's over the past couple of years, or at least over as of late, that they've kind of legitimized animation as a medium for more adult-like movies, or more serious topics to be taken for movies, or concepts to be tackled. So I agree with that, but I still feel like there is a bunch of push whenever it comes to the West in deciding whether or not an animated movie actually is for adults or whatever. Like, it's got this preconceived notion that because it's animated, it isn't that, or... Well, to be fair, when I was speaking of the CG as well, like, you think back on some of the really bad CG, like for The Mummy that we got, I don't know, more than a decade ago, or even Gods of Egypt. Some of those movies had terrible CG, and they're seen as for adults, but most of them are just, like, fully comprised of being CG, you know? For me, I'm an urban jungle kind of person, so rather than a bunch of paintings. So do you have, a bunch of... Yeah, that's actually so cool. Do you have a lot of potted plants? I was just about to ask that. Do you have a bunch of plants then? Do you have, like, vines draped across your entire apartment? Honestly, I'm contemplating getting a bunch of plants, but then I would have to take care of plants. And I don't know about that. I mean, I guess it is just watering them every now and then. Maybe they should be fruitful and give me something good that I can eat, or I'll feast upon the leaves that they wish to photosynthesize with. I was drawing out my sentence too long there, and I lost my train of thought while I began to read the effect of this. At the start of the turn 2, we can on the target lowest action count. And we'll just take this one. Little monkeys in the living room? What do you mean, little monkeys in the living room? I don't think that's... Oh, because of the jungle inside the living room. That's true. I guess so. I mean, that's one way of looking at it. I don't know if I'd want to do that. If you have any pets, though, I feel like having a bunch of plants might... I don't know what kind of pet it would depend on, but aren't there some that are just like flat out toxic to a lot of pets? So I would just like to decorate my my place with a whole bunch of different flowers and so on. Make it have a passive aroma, you know? Then I don't have to worry about the air ventilation as much, or it smelling stuffy, I guess, because the plants will do that for me. So, well, not yet. I went for shelves and cupboards and stuff to store away all the clutter. Next will be the plants. Yeah, that's fair. I'm thinking of maybe embellishing my rooms and everything with a bunch more furniture and whatnot, but man, the moving of all of the furniture just kind of sucks, you know? It's like all the moving of it, figuring out where I want to put it, then if I ever decide to move it, then unpacking stuff, then repacking stuff. Maybe it's just because I think of everything in like 2,000 years in the future, or I think of the next 2 decades or whenever I'm living somewhere, but I always think to myself like, well, if I'm gonna be living here, then what if if I'm eventually gonna be moving, then what if I need to move things out, and I need to move things around, and then I need to remove all the furniture and then get rid of it? I don't know. I just can never like commit myself to a set of furniture, and I always have myself in the mindset like, well, maybe I won't. What kind of plants are you thinking? Specifically, ivy, snake plants, and a wall garden, which I'm gonna make as a DIY project. A wall garden sounds cool. What goes into a wall garden? Is it just a bunch of vines and such? Or is there more to it? Like, is it just vines as a grid wire rack, and then you have a whole bunch of the vines themselves like creep and crawl throughout? I don't know. I gotta say, I'm not too used to... Wait, retain increase all effects until activated? That could be pretty good. It is a 2 cost as well, but I don't really mind that. I think it just works, whatever. 1 counter attack. I mean, yeah, go on to this one. Some of these Persona cards actually for this new for these new preseason stuff is pretty cool. However, I do think that it's not a lot of variety, and you end up with a bunch of similar-esque cards because you've really only got a couple of options for each of the characters that you typically play them with. So, snake plants are so based. I've never heard of a snake plant actually. I'm thinking moss for the wall garden. Moss is really underrated. My gosh, I love moss. It's so comfy and it's so soft, and genuinely I think it can go anywhere. It's just like a really good backdrop. They're great for heightening indoor air quality. Oh, you could do a small terrarium if you can, or you should do a small terrarium if you can, or get a small shrimp tank. It does wonders for the indoor biosphere feel. You could always like turn your room into a terrarium. Just make sure that you've sealed every surface and you don't have any electronics in it, unless you want to, of course. And then you just add a big pond, I don't know, a big bucket inside your room. Heat it up really hot. Make sure you get a whole bunch of sun through a window or something like that. And, I don't know, introduce a couple of bugs. Or just believe in spontaneous life. So then you could turn your entire room into a little terrarium. Wow, wouldn't that be cool? Then you can really have the bug's life going on, and you can have your own reenactment of it. Just introduce some ants and crickets, and you're good to go. Moss balls in a tank is wonderful as well. Do you mean with or without the shrimp, or how does that work? Okay, I'm like really unknowledgeable. House centipedes? No. No, we remove anything with a few too many legs, okay? None of that. Dude, I cannot stand insects. I must be way too squeamish, but anything house insects related would be way too bad, especially whenever it regards, just, I don't know, anything with exoskeletons. No thanks. You can have tiny little bugs or whatever, but I don't know about centipedes. Like caterpillars. Caterpillars are really cute, you know? How centipedes are based? I can't agree with you there. I think you're making things up. This is centipede propaganda in the chat right here. It's a shop, but here's a nice picture of snake plants. Let me check. Houseplant. Houseplant.co.uk/products/snakeplant Laurenti. It's a... oh, these. Oh, wow. They're like little funky looking guys, aren't they? They've got, I don't know, they look as if you made potato chips out of aloe vera. That's cool. I like my potato chip plants. You could also, how difficult is it to just get a whole bunch of aloe vera plants and then, I don't know, eat them one day? You know, just, oh, it reminds me of those cacti plants where they chop up a whole bunch of different variants and then they stick together or sew together the different types of cacti into different plants, and then they regenerate with those cacti in place, and they look really funky. They look really funky, but my gosh, it's so cool. I think, anyway. Marimo moss balls are great pets on their own. Wait, what? How do moss balls become pets? Is this like the new chia seeds? The new chia plants? No, I just leave all the spiders alive. I cannot do what you do. I'm sorry. Poor spiders. They're just not I don't know, they weren't fortunate enough. They came across my room and, well, they gotta go now. House centipedes are like spiders for insect regulation. Oh, I don't know. This sounds like centipede propaganda. I don't know if I can deal with that. Sorry, little guys. You're better off gone. I don't think I can deal with centipedes. But oh, wait. I actually have something on this. I was scrolling through X. I did not know that there are certain types of centipedes or millipedes that are UV conductive. They glow whenever you shine UV lights on them. It looks freaky. It looks really cool. Wait, I'm gonna see if I can find it. Millipede UV lights. It looks wild. I did not know that they they exude, let's say, or reflect UV light so well, but they legitimately glow. They look like those glow-in-the-dark gummy worms or whatever. So, aloe vera tastes like DD Mega Doodoo? How dare you? Aloe vera tastes delicious. I don't know, add some kind of sweetener, man. Just make it taste good. I'm sure you can do it. I believe in you. Aloe vera is great. Snake plants are really good for air quality and really easy to take care of. Like water once a week, humidity doesn't matter much, and you can put them even in the bathroom. Shade is fine under the sun too. Okay, maybe that's a future investment for a bathroom plant. Maybe I'll do that. That sounds pretty good, actually. I would just need to find some place to do it. Same with ivy. Ivy, does it grow really fast? I don't know. Anytime I think of ivy, I just think of the really long stalks that they've got going on with it and whatnot. Glowy? Yeah, centipedes are little glowies. You shine a UV lights on them, and they look like, I don't know, they look like slithery tube dudes, but with a bunch of legs. It's actually kind of gross, but really interesting. If you Google just like millipede under UV lights, they glow a really weird color of teal. It's so strange. It's so very strange, but they look kind of cool. I was so close to changing my mind on millipedes, but then I realized that as soon as you stop shining a UV lights on them, they're still as freaky as they were before, and then I couldn't get behind that. And then I was just like, oh, never mind. They are still, like, really creepy to me. And ivies also have something magical, you know? Just like the witch broom I want to get. What do you mean there's something magical to ivies? What do you mean by that? I'm not sure I understand. Witch broom? Oh man, that sounds like a mystical aesthetic. Oh, you know what? That would go so well with a mystical aesthetic. Like you could do a... Oh, actually, now I'm contemplating it. Maybe I should do like an entire witch or wizard shop aesthetic to go with everything that I have. Maybe this is an investment. Would be so cool to have an indoor jungle aesthetic with a witchy highlight. A witchy highlight. Witch! I point and scream at you. Welcome to the Salem witch trials. You've just outed yourself. Witch! Witch! I do love a whole lot of the plants and whatnot that go into creating a witch. You know, when I think of it, it does seem pretty stereotypical. Do witches and wizards... Well, okay, I'll speak on behalf of the wizards. We don't care. We live in an empty tower, okay? But if we're thinking of witches and whatnot, why do witches have plants that they just typically go for? What's the deal with that? Why do they stray to, let's say, specific kinds of ivy and the likes? What is with that? What is with that? Yeah, that's what I meant. Ivies have a witchy / magical / mystical aesthetic to them in my eyes. Yeah, that's what I think as well. Anytime I try to... Okay, actually, we can test it. We can put this to the test. If I search up witch room or whatever, you can find a whole bunch of images with ivy. What are with the witches in the community, okay? And all of their ivy plants. Speaking as a wizard, I have a completely empty room with just my scrying orb, and that's all I need. E-boy wizard calling other people witches. Witch! Witch! Yeah, that's you. That's you. Witch! Me, on the other hand, I would never. I don't need this cottagecore stuff. I just need my scrying orb and a chair, and that's all I need. I don't have anything else. Why would I need anything else when I've already got all that I need in front of me? And the ley lines, of course. You need an internet connection. So, that's just how it works. It's as shrimple as that. But it does really give off the witch aesthetic, I suppose. Not much of a wizard one, I'll say that. But you get moss and fungus? What do you mean I get moss and fungus? I don't get any of that. Witches get cool plants? Not true. Not true. Moss is really cool, though. And fungi are cool, too. Wait, have you got something against moss-based wizards and spells and everything like that? You don't want to become, I don't know, a wizard of, I don't want to say pestilence, but, you know, a wizard of the mycelium variety. How come? How come? Because I think wizards of the mycelium variety are probably pretty cool. They're probably pretty... fun guys. Yeah, that was a setup for a joke. I think it's just the fact that ivies are hanging plants. They do kind of hang around, don't they? It works a little bit in ways of adding some texture or whatever to the roof and all that as well. Like if you just want stuff to go on top of the roof, it does kind of make sense that it would be one of the few things that you add to it. So I can kind of see that. I can kind of see that. Just like wisterias and willows seem more magical than other trees, no? Yeah, I guess anything that be dangling kind of looks like more wizard witch aesthetic. Hanging plants are nice and cozy. Kill this wizard? No. Kill the witch! Burn the witch! I'm sending you to the Salem witch trials with that one, dude. There's no escape. There's no redemption for this. You can't seriously convince me that, I mean, think of this. Witches have undergone discrimination. Wizards, on the other hand, have undergone admiration. Yeah, that's right. You're dealing with the wrong wizard here, buddy. You're dealing with the wrong wizard. I'm shrimply too powerful. All I need is my scrying orb and you cower in fear. On the other hand, you, a witch sympathizer? Nuh-uh-uh. Nuh-uh-uh. Witch! Witch! I'm sending you to the Salem witch trials as we speak. There is no saving you. However, I will admit that maybe they're on the right track whenever it comes to aesthetics as opposed to wizards with all of that. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta admit, us wizards, we're not really good when it comes to aesthetics. Like, we don't have any kind of core, you know? Witches probably have cottage core and the likes, but I don't know. I don't know. Also, if you look up wizard towers and witches' houses, they tend to have ivies growing on the outside vertically on every medium there is. That's probably because they don't take care of their towers. I think that's more likely the case. Then again, it could be a decision. I mean, it is a decision of some kind that they choose not to decorate it, but like an intentional design decision where they decide, you know what, I'm just not going to refurbish the place, so the entire place just looks like it's completely overgrown. And while I kind of get that, I also kind of don't. Because you should probably take care of it. Witches were unjustly prosecuted. Witches are based in cool. Wizard core is just musty fungus. You don't know what you're talking about. You're making things up. You're giving too much credit to the witches, and I think you're lying. I think you're lying. That doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And socks? What do you mean, and socks? Socks isn't something that's associated with wizards. What do you mean? You're a muggle, if I've ever heard one. Yeah, but because of that, ivies are now seen as magical plants just by association. Yeah, I suppose so. They are seen as it by association, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are inherently a very magical plant. Though they are pretty. They are pretty, I'll give them that. Ivy is one of those plants that kind of just works anywhere. Like even in Minecraft, right? Whenever you want to decorate a place, you want to make it look nice and cozy and whatnot, just adding ivy works really well because it works as a I don't want to call it a chandelier, but anything that hangs from the roof just looks so aesthetic in Minecraft, unless you like build it all manually or whatever, you decorate it. You know, you're right. Wizards keep their Joe Jam-ridden feet out for the world to see. What are you talking about? You're just making things up. You know what? You were talking about how, oh, witches, they get wrongly persecuted. But here I will go on and slander all the wizards. Okay? Have you thought of every single wizard out there? Do you realize how many famous, popular wizards they are? We've got Gandalf, we've got, like, Harry Potter, we've got Dumbledore as Dumbledore. We've got, I don't know, there's, like, Monty Python characters. We're everywhere, okay? The witches, they got the Salem witch trials. That's it. That's it. That's what it is for me, virtually undying, thus easy to take care of and look cool. That is 100% fair then. You know what? Maybe I just might buy into this Ivy propaganda. Oh, it didn't increase what? It was like a 66% chance that would have worked, and it didn't. Unfortunate. But yeah, maybe I'll buy into this propaganda. I've always been thinking, like, maybe I should get plants or something. But then I think to myself, like, oh my gosh. Do I really bother? Maybe I do. Maybe I should get around to it. Unfortunate that I just played that in the completely wrong order. I could have played that so much better. Harry Potter, I love... Yeah, what's wrong with Harry Potter, okay? Harry Potter? Harry Potter? You got something wrong with that one, yeah? You got something wrong with that? I love long-living plants, too. I wish jellyfish tanks were more accessible. Dude, I gotta say, jellyfish are really cool. They are really underrated. Could you imagine a cottagecore house with iridescent jellyfish? I can. Man, they are really underrated, I gotta say. The fact that they are basically immortal, that they can do what they want to, they can leave their friends behind. I just really love jellyfish. They are really underrated. If anything, I think we need more facilitation for jellyfish-related stuff. How much does a jellyfish tank cost? Pet jellyfish. I need to see this now. Because I feel like you could probably do this pretty okay. Do they need much? Do jellyfish need much at all? Oh gosh, they really do cost a lot. Wait, what? What's the difference between a regular jellyfish tank and an aquarium of some kind? Huh. Okay. Because, like, I can imagine that you probably have, I don't know, imagine along the walls or separating your walls, you have a whole bunch of glow-in-the-dark jellyfish. Those little guys just doing their thing every single day. I don't know, they're pretty chill. They're pretty chill. I would imagine that they also look really cool, just most of the time. So why not, you know? Let's take this route instead. And then when it comes to furniture, you could just do your own twist on dark academia and combine it with moss walls, mushroom ivies, and dried herbs hanging from your shelves. Yeah, but that's a lot of work. You see, that's the issue, right? It's a lot of work. I mean, yeah, you do it once and they live perpetually, but you're telling me this is going to take me a couple of hours? No, I don't want it. We'll have to see. I don't know if I will actually do it, but, like, maybe I need to get plants of some kind. I'm thinking as well, does it help during, okay, because I don't really have a lot of plants. I have one. I have one plant. And even then, I don't know if it's helping much at all. But do plants help with maintaining humidity in a room? Because honestly, that might be worth considering. Now I need to know, but I'm unsure. Yeah, I don't mind the work in exchange for how it makes me feel in my space. I think it ties back to what I was saying, that like if you ever feel uncertain if you're gonna live in one place for long enough, that I just kind of default to, well, if I'm going to live here for the rest of my life, then maybe. But at the same time, if I even have the slightest inkling that I won't, I think to myself, well, is it worth doing it then? Is it worth spending all of these hours going through all of that effort to possibly, potentially improve my space for the time being? I'm not sure. Maybe this is just like personal laziness in that regard, but I can live in a literal box with just a computer, and I think I would be pretty okay. And a bed, of course. I don't want to sleep on the floor. I'm not a dog, but I think it gets pretty close to being a-okay, you know? So I don't so much mind it. I think it's pretty fine, all in all. Just me, my computer, and an empty white box, you know, to help with my lack of mental cope. Otherwise, yeah, probably vines, ivies, and the like. It probably helps most of the time anyway. Oh, I'll add this to this one, and that should be okay. Yeah, I like the addition of cost cards and whatever to this. So you're basically the definition of a young male, or you're the male living spaces meme. Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, yes. I did try to bother wanting to decorate my place, but at some point I just kind of stopped. I added a bunch of furniture, I added couches, I added benches and whatnot, I added, what's it called? Like, I have dining tables, I have shelves, I have nightstands, I have small little shelves for different things, like different kinds. I don't even know if there are different names for them. There might be, but I'm not knowledgeable enough on it to say for sure. And then I've got chairs, desks, benches, and whatnot. But I've got nothing decorating the walls and no like carpets or anything, so it just looks kind of empty as a result. But I just kind of like stopped halfway through, you know? I've got a display cabinet with things in it, and that looks fine. In fact, that's probably that's my highlight, but I don't need much else. I've got my computer, my display cabinet, and that's most or all of what I need. I don't I don't need much else. And again, it's like, well, I'm basically a recluse, always in my room, so do I really need anything else? No, probably not. So I'm pretty well off, actually. Pretty well off indeed. Oh, actually, getting this as Celestial is kind of crazy. That's really good, actually. Because I think that procs Kirkin's passive? I could be wrong, but I think it does. Otherwise, yeah, I think my living space, if it weren't for the fact that I do have some semblance of furniture, the fact that it feels so empty and there's, like, nothing on the roof or anything, makes it feel like one of those typical male living spaces. So, yeah, I kind of get it. When it comes to taste in interior design, I'm as basic as your 25-year-old white girl in her Zodiac tattoo, with her Zodiac tattoo somewhere on her body, and a tarot deck in her handbag. You know, at least it's some kind of aesthetic, Helios. It's some kind of aesthetic, which means that you've got something going on. Because the thing is, if you have a consistent style throughout, at least people won't judge you in that sense. They'll be like, oh, that's just what he likes. But if you've got a haphazard style that doesn't really fit anywhere, then people will probably judge you for that more. Like, is it worse to have a blank slate or a somewhat painted canvas? Or even just like a fully painted canvas? I think people will admire the painted canvas, even if it's not good art, more than the blank slate. And I feel like I'm somewhere in between, where I've ended up kind of yes and no, having my slightly decorated apartment, but also nothing else really going for it. So, yeah, but I'm a 33-year-old, 188-centimeter muscular bearded dude. Talk about Gap Moe. I think that works in your favor. I think I agree with you there. That is Gap Moe. Why would that not work for you, man? I think that would. I think that's in your best interest, that if you have, the more, I don't know, Gap Moe you introduce into your life, the more you get away with it. The better it looks as well for people looking on the outside in, right? I mean, think of it like this. You've got a really buff, muscular man wearing a, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something not completely sinister. Like, oh, what's the name of that one with the little gremlin anime girl that wears the orange one-piece jumpsuit or whatever it was? Not a jumpsuit. What's it called? The onesie or whatever it is. Anime about a neat girl with orange like onesie or whatever it is. Umaru-chan. That's it. Umaru-chan. So base Umaru. Yes, exactly, Umaru. Like, you could be as buff, as muscular you are, with the longest beard that even puts a dwarf to shame, and if you were to dress up like Umaru, no one would care. No one would care. However, if you are short and you're really, no, not even skinny, you're like skinny fat, and you wore an Umaru outfit, I think people would judge you way more for that. Or you wear, I don't know, like graphic tees, but it doesn't look cohesive. Like, you can pull off graphic tees, for sure. But if you don't pull off graphic tees and they just kind of look like you slung middle schooler dress code together, then people judge you for that. But you dress up, full outfit, Umaru, as a nearly 190 cm, hulking mass of muscle, dude, I think you're good to go. I think you're good to go. I think people would envy that. You could wear that in the gym and just flex and rip your shirt, and you'd be like, yeah, that's right. I'm a little bit of gap moe going on. You could be like, as you finish one of your really heavy lifted sets. And I think no one would be able to judge you. They'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. He's done it again. He's so cool. He's so muscular. He's so gap moe. You would be like Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist, okay? But, you know, just a little bit more cutesy. I don't like graphic tees myself. Yeah. I'm just saying it as like, if you have a cohesive style, you can 100% pull it off. You don't need graphic tees, obviously. But being able to in the first place is more so what I'm getting to, right? That if you have some kind of coherent style, people are way more forgiving with it than without. And I think that's kind of how it works out in that sense. You know? Like, you can get away with it because of that. And I don't know if it's just because of how much effort you put into it, or if it's because it becomes cohesive. But let's say you wear like a full outfit. It's kind of like cosplay, actually. If you pull off an entire full cosplay, people are willing to forgive that because it is cosplay, as opposed to if you were to just do, I don't know, half of it, right? Like, it doesn't make sense that you wear half of the cosplay outfit and only a regular t-shirt on top, right? I was in fact about to get an Umbreon or Gengar onesie. ... You know, okay, a onesie might be difficult, but Helios, I'm just letting you know, maybe you are Umaru-chan. You could become the really buff version of Umaru. Umaru. Yeah, Umaru. You could become a really buff version of Umaru, and people would forgive you for it. Especially, you know what? You could get a onesie and lift with it in the gym, and people would still think it's fine. They would be like, "Oh my gosh, he looks so cute in his cute little onesie, and he's deadlifting like 140 kilos, something like that. He's benching at least 100. You know, they'll be like, "Oh, whoa, that's impressive." You know, he didn't let himself just indulge in culture, to be a man of true culture, but he also allowed himself to go to the gym, work out, and dress up like Umaru in a onesie. So, I think it works out. I really do. Draw 3 2-cost attack cards. What 2 costs do I even have? I don't think this really works for me. I just needed my slight tea break. Apply exhaust. Doesn't... Oh, this one does. So, counterattack for each one. Do they both have this? Yeah, okay. Sure, get rid of that. But, I don't know. I personally like my... You did kind of get it right with Dark Academia, just in general. Except I mostly wear a lot of black clothing. I really am fond of just having a bunch of really dark clothing and going with a whole goth aesthetic, I suppose. So, you know, it's maybe if I ever do a hand cam, you'll see why. But I do very much like that. I think one of the things people maybe don't get a grasp of until much later is just when you're older, it feels like you can go back to customizing your character and just buy a whole bunch of outfits and everything. Like, when I was younger, I didn't entirely get it. Like, oh, why do you want to buy a bunch of outfits and a bunch of different clothes and everything like that? But now, I'm like, oh my gosh, actually, I really love just being able to buy a bunch of clothes and have a whole bunch of different outfits to wear most of the time. So I think it's, I've been enlightened, you know? I've been enlightened to the way of fashionistas. And maybe I need to contemplate upgrading my wardrobe a little bit more? Maybe. Oh, remove all curse cards? Do I have one? I think I've got one, don't I? No, I removed it. Never mind. Let's just Epiphany a card. It took me a while, but here I am. And yeah, I need to probably have an enlightenment myself with my apartment. The state of my apartment, it for sure does need a little bit of livening up. Otherwise, I think I'm pretty good. And I guess is like another topic to go on. I'm contemplating doing a bit of a RimWorld run instead. So I think I've played a lot of Chaos Zero Nightmare and a lot of Slay the Spire. I even did a stream or two of the first Slay the Spire in, what is it called? Like, celebration/anticipation of Slay the Spire 2 coming out. And I'm thinking that maybe I should just stop playing it for a while because I've created so much content. Not because I don't enjoy it. I do like playing the game and whatnot, and it is kind of like dependent on that. But I think maybe I'll do some RimWorld playthroughs and whatnot. So you could play BioShock since it's in second place. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. You've no. Let me think on that one. I'll have to get back to you on BioShock. Just saying, dude, if I'm gonna be playing Resident Evil and having and soiling myself because of how afraid I am of horror games, I don't know if I can do BioShock as well. BioShock scares me as well. I don't think that's a relaxing game that I can do like semi-commentary to. I'll have to contemplate it, but I don't think it's up there. Then let's just go for Golden Sun. I would be more willing to do a chill stream of some kind of game. It's a nice vintage JRPG or a nice vintage JRPG. I was thinking like Shin Megami Tensei as a somewhat, I don't know, is it chill? Is it chill to play Shin Megami Tensei where everything is like falling apart and the world is in an apocalyptic state? Maybe. I think the gameplay wise it is kind of enjoyable with that, but I don't know, the theming and everything probably isn't. But I was thinking that maybe some of these like longer form games just work as something for me to play while I'm talking a whole bunch. And I figure card games work really well for me because of that, because I can kind of go on autopilot whenever I play it and do things at the same time. But I'm not too sure whenever it comes to JRPGs, though I was thinking like RimWorld would be kind of fun because it also allows some audience interaction with that, and that really works well. But, oh, I had one more. What was I thinking of? I was thinking of, I need to check through my list again. I had some more games written down that could be really fun to do. Shin Megami Tensei is apocalyptic and Pokemon, but it's scary demons instead of cute animals. Yeah, basically. But that's why I love it. I think that's why it's so good. The only thing I don't like about Shin Megami Tensei, however, is Mara, but maybe that's an isolated incident. I do think a lot of the systems are really cool, but I've just like never properly sat down and played one of the games. Oh, actually, one of the games that I did think might be, I don't know if it would be interesting or calming whatsoever. But I thought to myself, what if I streamed myself playing through the original Toho games? Because I have the entire collection downloaded, right? I've got the entire collection of Toho games because I wanted to first clear or one continue clear every single Toho game on hard. And I got through the first 3 games. I'm on the 4th one now. I guess Lotus Land Story is the 4th one. Let's see. Lotus Land Story. That is the 4th one, I think, of Toho. Yeah, because you got the first one, then the second one, and then the third one, which was kind of a multiplayer one. Yeah. 4th one, gosh, it's really difficult because it just hurts my eyes. So, it really hurts my eyes because of the really old graphics and everything. How about Cultist Simulator then? That is also on the list of games that I will be, like, rotating through a whole bunch. So that's, Oh, wait. Cultist Simulator. No, I was thinking Cult of the Lamb. Sorry, Cultist Simulator. I think I've looked into this before. It's a really fun card game. I've not actually tried it. Maybe I'll look into it. I think I could be a little bit particular, but we'll see if that's something that I can actually autopilot, because my mind needs to get into, like, a flow state where I've played enough of something to be able to just recognize a card purely through visuals and know exactly what it does, and I feel like I've come to that point with Chaos Zero Nightmare. Not that I can do it like reliably or all the time, every single time, but I do a pretty consistent job of it. So here's the Cultist Simulator link. Let's take a look at it together. Yeah, we can have a look at it. Toho, just like the Epilepsy the game, I think that's more just bullet hells in general, right? They are really, really complex at times. I know it's just patterns and whatnot, but my gosh, there is a lot that goes into every single bullet hell game. I think I just suck reaction-wise, but I can't tell. Maybe it is just because it's a, whatchamacallit, an older game. So one of the reasons I find the original Toho games to be really, really difficult, because I can beat them on normal. I can beat them on normal just fine. But when I move on to hard, it requires so much more precise movement. My gosh, I cannot do it. I cannot do it. I can barely get enough graze points to get an extra life, and the graphics, if I stare at them for too long, my eyes just begin to burn, and it hurts. It really does, staring at the screen for that long, trying to figure out what's going on. Sure, complex, but there is so much going on at the same time, it's literally the opposite of relaxing. Oh dear. I thought when you recommended it to me, it would be like, oh yeah, there's this really cool or cute game called Cultist Simulator. It works out really well. The screen is also giga overloaded. I was thinking, that's a lot of different cards. I don't know what's going on. This makes me feel like I'm looking at a spreadsheet simulator, except that I'm looking at a bunch of cards instead. Like, the cards are becoming the spreadsheet. I'm talking about Toho. Oh, you know, I would have believed this of Cultist Simulator as well, because I'm looking at some of these screenshots, and it looks like we've got, I don't know, what, 30 to 50 cards just on one screenshot alone. I don't know, that's a whole bunch. I was thinking I could do a couple of streams of, like, what is it called, The Last Stand, or wait, what is it called? I have it downloaded. The Last Spell, that's what it's called. The Last Spell was a pretty good game, except one of the reasons I stopped playing it was because I did so well in the beginning, where I didn't have to grind at all, that I just became, like, really enamored with the idea of keeping a 100% win rate, and therefore I never continued to play the game because I knew that it was going to become too difficult for me to continue up my 100% win rate. So I know it's kind of cheap, but I did kind of give up on it as a result of that, which is funny, I think, to myself. Like, oh yeah, I was doing so well at this game that I stopped to not lose my 100% win rate. What about The Binding of Isaac? That's relaxing. Yeah, it is. Well, sometimes. I kind of suck at Binding of Isaac every now and then, but yeah, The Binding of Isaac is really good. I really enjoy it. Or maybe a City Builder. I've not played a lot of City Builders now that I think about it, but that's why I was thinking RimWorld is a really good one for that. And then you guys can also influence the game. And that, I think, would be a lot of fun. I love RimWorld. I need to make a, I need to use, was it Pyrim? Whatever it's called? To set up a mod profile for streaming and everything, because I can't have my, like, massive mod pack going on for me whenever I'm streaming. It's like, oh my gosh, 300 plus mods or something like that. It tanks my machine. I don't know what it is about RimWorld and all of the mods, or some of the mods that go on with it, but my gosh, it is, it really does tank, and you have no parallel thread processing, which makes it way slower than it is, unfortunately. So, look into Whiskerwood. I feel like I've been recommended this because of the, daily queues or something like that on Steam. Since you've got, like, the, what's it called? Like, oh, your game review queue. And I used to go through those. Actually, my game review queue is huge. Let's see. My review queue that I have done is, how do I check? Customize my queue? No. Surely there must be some way to view it. Sorry, I'll check in a second. Let's just get through all of these. I'm not too interested in these. It's like recommending me a bunch of other games. It's a city builder meets Factorio, and you're a settlement of mice trying to appease your cat overlords. That's a pretty cute setting, actually. That's pretty cute. There is... Oh, actually. Maybe I am getting some good recommendations here. There was Lay of the Land. I know it's voxel based, but that looked pretty cool. Oh, there was a Wait, a reboot or a remake of Diablo 2? I had no clue. February 11th, 2026? I had no clue this even existed. Oh, okay. Sure. I guess I've been out of the loop massively. I just haven't seen most of this. Okay, we can continue through this. Where is the end of my queue? I want to see, because I think I'm in the thousands of games that I have scrolled and clicked through. Here we go. Last one. And then I'm not interested in this. I have reviewed over 8,400 games on Steam. Or not reviewed. I have gone over and looked over that many games on Steam via the review queue. I've looked through a whole bunch, and I have a gigantic list of games that I have like kind of perused through, kind of made a wish list of, and games that I follow and everything like that. So we could also play a visual novel. We could. But then, it depends on if it's voice acted or not, because that would mean you might want me to do the voice acting. Otherwise, yeah, I could probably play some kind of visual novel. Maybe. Isn't Neko Power on Steam? I don't like where you're leading this. I don't think I'm gonna play Neko Power on Steam. I love Monster Girls, but Neko Power, I'm not getting the 18 plus patch if that's what the next follow-up question is, despite my knowledge of Neko Power. I think I'll just relegate myself to not doing that. Also, I don't think I've ever seen this this mythic artifact before. 40% 2 to 6 times the fixed damage to a random enemies. That's really cool. And trigger 200% fixed damage on allies with one random effect. I didn't know this existed. Dice Discord? Wow. Why not? That would be a good segue to start a Patreon. Me playing Edoge? You want me to make a Patreon so I stream myself playing Edoge and publish the sussy uncensored parts there? I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm the kind of commentator for that kind of stuff. Though, you know, at least I'm aware, but I don't know if I'll ever go about doing something like that. Maybe you're suggesting it, so I'm kind of getting that there's a demand for whatever reason, you know? Like, as long as the user base is there, there'll always be a demand. Also, I've nearly done 10 for Kirkin as well. I really do not like Sekrid. I can't remember why. What did Sekrid do? I think his just kind of sucked, and I didn't like it whatsoever. But I don't know, a Patreon for certain kinds of streams, it would depend as well, because I think to myself, if I wanted to get into more like serious content creation, not in terms of that, you know, like actually making videos and long-form content, because I could see myself making scripts and making video essays about certain things. I was wanting to do that, but then I realized, like, oh my gosh, it takes a lot of time, and then doing streams on top of that. I feel like there's a really weird difference, or a really weird balancing act that has to go into whether or not you do proper video content creation as opposed to streaming, which is, if you want to do something that is like proper content creation, my gosh, the amount of time that it takes, I would probably need to hire someone to edit like a really long video for it. Maybe. Because I don't think I'm good enough to get it out in a reasonable amount of time. Like, when I'm doing this blue flavor video, it's taking me a really long time because I'm just, like, having to learn constantly since I'm still from zero. Now I'm just joking, taking the relaxing game a little bit too far. Okay, you know, I mean, I'm taking things seriously. I'm weighing my options, but yeah, it's a funny suggestion. I just don't think I would be able to go about doing it, you know? What is this? I'm gonna check what Sekrod's one is. I've completely forgotten what his Divine Epiphany is, but I think it kind of sucks because I keep losing on it, apparently. I don't know. I've seen people do, like, these member streams and everything like that. It would be a little bit weird to kind of migrate to doing something like that, I imagine. I don't know if that ever happens. I don't know if that ever happens with my... Or will ever happen, I mean, with my want to do it. So, increased damage amount by 200% for each hit decreased on an attack card. Oh. That's really lame. I see why I do that. Yep, I don't care. Bye-bye! I like how there was no... What's it called? No animation there. Yeah, we can just merge. I'm not enthused. I did not pick any character with multi-hit. Dude, I love T. I love T so much. Oh, another Kirkin one. Here we go. Now we can get the 10 in a row. Or 10 Kirkin wins. And then we can finish that. And that will be a pretty decent... was it the compendium? I forget what the name of it was. But yeah, I think for relaxing games, I can see myself doing a little bit of like Binding of Isaac, because I'm always down for some kind of roguelike, right? Always down for some kind of roguelike. They are so good. I love roguelikes. I'm thinking we could do RimWorld, we could do Binding of Isaac, maybe Cult of the Lamb, something like that. We still got some of the playthroughs going on throughout the middle of the week, and then if I'm doing a long-form series where I'm playing through a really long game, we'll have to see, because, again, I think it's going to take a lot of streams to get through some of the longer games, mostly just because I only stream for 2 hours approximately for any of my long-form streams, or whatever you want to call them. And that means I won't end up completing some of these really long ones in a short amount of time. So Resident Evil kind of feels like it's in a sweet spot of being just long enough or just good enough with how long the game's duration is that I don't necessarily have to worry about how many streams it takes me to finish it. You know? I feel like it's in a sweet spot, and I quite like that. I'm quite chuffed about it. But other variety games. I was recommended Quarantine Zone as one of them to play, but I'm not 100% sure because I've never really looked into the game. I've seen some gameplay of it and then some of the interactions and whatnot, but making something out of it is another sense, or another deal entirely. So. Also, I just want to ramble a little bit about the Persona card system in this. Oh, Persona in Chaos Zero Nightmare? I can't believe it. The game's going to EOS next year. It's true. The game's going to EOS because they're going to do a collab with Persona. No. The Persona cards, I'm a little bit conflicted on. So, they've added these, like, customizable cards or whatever to the game. And yes, they're kind of cool, but at the same time, I feel like there is not nearly enough variety to them. Like, if I go here, we've got, I don't know, a basic draw, a basic deal a certain amount of damage. Like, anytime I think of cards being semi-customizable or being able to do, like, unique things in that sense, you would imagine that they can adapt to every single character, but these feel like they were adapted specifically for Diana and maybe Nia, which makes me feel conflicted because I feel like they should be more generalized. Like, they could have had really cool effects that weren't just tied towards Diana specifically. I do still really like the idea of the Persona cards. I just think that they could have had more stuff to them. Like, the Lux and the Umbral stuff, maybe? But how long are we meant to go between this season and the next one? What, is it like 2 to 3 weeks before this preseason ends? It feels like a really long time to just have nothing, I think. So, maybe. I think there could be a little bit more, because I don't know, the half anniversary for CZN is coming up, and I wonder what they'll do there. I wonder how much they've got in store, but I guess there's going to be the live stream next weekend, I think, discussing all the different features and implementations that are coming to the game, so that could be interesting to see. And then maybe we get a whole bunch more rather than what we have now for the preseason content. I at least think that there should be more for the preseason stuff. I didn't expect it to last this long. Half Annie and Nikke is also in 1 week. Yes, that's true. Oh my gosh, I have been waiting so long for Anise Overspec. I can't wait. I really cannot wait for Anise Overspec in Nikke. It's been... Gosh, how long have I saved up now? I think I've saved up enough gems over the past 2-ish years, something like that. As soon as she was alluded to as being a oh, wait, which one do I want to do? We can pick this one. I'll be going for Neon though. You can go for both of them, right? Why? Okay. How far through the campaign have you played? Have you played on story mode, or have you been like just waiting and then grinding it all out? But I'm so looking forward to Anise over spec in Nikke. I've waited far too long, especially after oh, I forgot to use my last point. After I've let's say lost some characters to look forward to, let's say. Because one of my favorite characters, Neve, never gets featured for whatever reason. I don't know why, but oh. Hi, Mr. Brown. How's it going? How's your weekend so far? How have you been? It's been ages, and by ages, I mean at least, like, 1 or 2 days now, I suppose. Were you here last stream? I don't think you were, actually, so it has been more than 2 days, like 3 or whatever. And no, I'm playing on normal mode normally. Okay, fair enough. I think if you ever wanted to, switching to story mode, oh my gosh, the story is so good. I love the story to Nikke. Wait, is that a new account, or are Mr. Brown and Sister Brown different people? Mr. Brown is the same one. They're using... I think it's just a renaming, right? So, working weekend, but the Thursday and Friday off was good. Yeah, I wasn't here yesterday, or the day before, I mean. Yeah, exactly. You abandoned us. You abandoned me. No, it's fine. But I hope you got to rest plenty. I know that it's so sad to me whenever like jobs assign work over the weekends. Like genuinely, just give me rest. You know, I feel like it's too much at times. You know, so I sympathize. I really do. I hope you don't have to work next weekend either. But yeah. Mr. Brown and Sister Brown are the exact same person. It's just a renaming of accounts, Helios. But yeah, I'm so looking forward to the Nikke story. I'm trying not to spoil anything in my excitement of it, but there's this character, right, called Neve. Neve showed up and was released around the second Christmas event, and I love her design. She's so cute. Her entire design is just being a sleepy polar bear, and she never shows up. I don't know why. It makes me so sad, but I've got no hopes of Shift Up ever acknowledging that Neve exists, because she never shows up for anything. She never gets any new costume. Even when her squad is featured, she's not featured. Even when she is featured, she gets like one line. I think in the past 3.5 years. So, no, actually, because she was released post year 1. So in the past 2.5 years, Neve has had maybe 4 lines of dialogue. It makes me so sad. Genuinely makes me so sad. You missed out on Aug becoming a cat person. It was terrible. Don't look into the VOD. Don't look at the VOD. I won't. Yeah, next weekend is 100% weekend off. That's really nice. WTF? Yeah, don't. He's lying to you, by the way. That never happened. Yeah, I changed to Mr. so people don't confuse me for a girl. Yeah. Unfortunate truth. But it is true that he did have to change his name so that people wouldn't confuse him for a girl. It's kind of funny, though. I gotta admit. It's kind of funny that people thought you were a girl. But now you can't catfish or whatever. But also the Mr. version also works in Steins Gate universe. Yeah, I remember you telling me this. I think I asked about this before. But I've forgotten. So, either way, I don't know. It would be like telling me one more time over, and it would be like learning it for the first time. Oh, so cool. But yeah, Neve just gets no screen time. Neve gets no screen time in Nikke, and that makes me sad. I have seen... I think I've only ever seen a singular Neve cosplayer in real life, though. It was shocking to me as well, though, because I was like, there's no way. I can't believe someone actually knows who Neve is, you know? Like, that was the most shocking part to me, because she has 4 lines of dialogue in the past 2.5 years. My gosh. My gosh. It's in the last 5 minutes of Friday's stream if you're interested. Don't look it. Don't look it up. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Also, that reminds me of another point. Also, that's sad. Yeah, it is sad. Neve needs more screen time. Why do they do that? I have no clue. She's so cute in Nikke. She really is. I just like her whole sleepy personality. Maybe I just really like I like Frima as well. The Frimmer. She's so cute as well. Maybe I just like sleepy girls. The best archetype? Tired. The best archetype, by far. But... Oh yeah, the point that I was gonna make. I think maybe starting from Resident Evil or something like that? Maybe it's a bi-weekly or a monthly thing. Maybe we should do, like, video or clip compilations, kind of? I'm thinking, like, if we do an event or whatever where we take some of the clips that have been taken of my streams or whatever bi-weekly or monthly or something like that, and then see who does the best, we can have, like, a little awards thing, maybe, and then we can have a vote on it. I wouldn't mind, like, just gifting you guys games for it, because I feel like it is doing a little bit of work for me. But I think it would be funny as well to see all the different clips of what you guys thought was funny as well of streams in the past. So, I want another Guilty event. Also, she's cute in the Chuni way. I really like Guilty, that's true. She did get the summer event, but my gosh, I think she needs more screen time. I really wonder what happened to her after the summer event, because we just haven't heard from her since, have we? I don't think we have. Also, while we were on topic, we could play Nikke on stream on Sundays and Wednesdays with the Half Annie coming up. The only thing that or reason why I wouldn't do that is just because I don't want my name to be shown. No, I can't say, because then you would be able to find me. It's difficulty. Or it's a difficulty because you'd be able to find me, because I'm in a union that scores within top 50, so you'd be able to find me. If you saw my name. No, Guillotine. Oh, Guillotine! Oh, you said Gilly. I thought you misspelled guilty. Yeah, maybe Guillotine. I kind of want more Guilty events, though, as well. Guilty is also really nice. I like Guilty in Nikke. She's really underrated. I think she needs a treasure. I think all of the Liberation units need a treasure. Though Quincy did get an alt, and that was pretty cool. But I think Guilty needs one as well. And especially, what was it? Just Sin? Sin needs an alt as well. I can't believe they've just allowed people to sleep on her. She's got a really cool design and a really cool ability. I don't know why they did that. But yeah, Guilty 2. I didn't get her yet in the rehab center. It takes really long. I don't blame you for that. I just want a new OP Rupee. I think Rupee needs a treasure. I think Rupee is really cool as, like, a buff unit that increases stacks, but oh my gosh, the fact that we just have, like, nothing that increases stacks is kind of sad. Real? Yeah. I want Rupee to get a treasure. I want Guilty to get an alt. I want Neve to have more lines of dialogue. And who else? Oh gosh. There are a whole bunch of characters that I really want more content of. I think Jackal is really silly as well. I think she should get a whole bunch more screen time. I think Marciana hasn't gotten a whole bunch of screen time either as of late. Sugar did get like 2 or 3 events. Milk is a jobber, so she doesn't really get much screen time because she just kind of sucks at whatever she does, which is funny. We haven't seen Alice in a long time either. So the problem is I can't run her in the team I want to run her in anyway, so I need a new Rupee that is either burst 1 or 3. Technically, there is a burst 1 Rupee, which is the seasonally limited version of her. The downside, however, is that she's a re-entry burst 1, which means that you cannot play her alone. You have to play her with yet another burst 1, which is unfortunate. I think it was actually the first time that they ever made a re-entry burst 1, but it was also just, she was really underpowered, which is unfortunate. For being a Christmas unit, she was majorly underpowered. I think it was kind of unfair how underpowered she was comparative to basically everyone else. Because even Christmas Anne managed to get a whole bunch of support and whatnot because she was basically meta PvP. She still fulfills the niche of being a PvP unit to this day. It's just, well, very dependent on if you get into any PvP arena with a healer of some kind. So I'm going to run her with Tia and Naga anyway, so I'm using another burst 1. Yeah, but you can't have two re-entry burst 1s in that case. That's the unfortunate side of it. You need to have at least one burst 1 to 2 or burst 2 entry burst 1. But Tia and Christmas Rupee are both re-entry burst 1. So you would do Christmas Rupee into Tia, and then you would need another burst 1 to entry burst 2, or to enter into burst 2. Which is unfortunate, because I don't think that should have been the case. I feel like for some of the characters, they should have given you the option to choose whether or not you want re-entry on them, because she would have been so good for some of the reload speed teams if she weren't a re-entry burst 1. There's like this whole debacle with playing Viper with her treasure as well, because with her treasure, they also made her a burst re-entry but on burst 2, which severely limits her. I think the intention was that you were meant to play Viper with her treasure with like Leona or another burst 2. I can't remember which one it was that helps her comp, but it doesn't work out as well. It's unironically better to not get that, but then her burst skill is massively underpowered. So you kind of trade off being able to use her in the first place for a really weak burst. And I don't know. I think that's really unfortunate, in my opinion. We'll go for Selected Cabana Epiphany. Or maybe there's a way to just run 2 burst 1 and 2 burst 2, but I've yet to see a burst 3 with a cooldown low enough to support that. Unfortunately, you will never find that. You might be able to argue that Red Hood can, because she can instantly refresh one of her burst stages once. So she has every single burst stage. She's burst stage 1, 2, and 3. And she has a passive that whenever she uses it for the first time, it instantly comes off of cooldown. So it works once, but that means that you would only be able to do a 1 minute to 1 minute 30 second battle and not a full 3 minute one. So it doesn't work. It unfortunately just does not work in that sense. Yeah, but Red Hood won't work unless she gets a Gyadu skin. She kind of does. Not like traditional Gyadu, but she does have a... Wait, what's it called? Isn't it Old Red Hood, or whatever it was called? Red Hood Skins Nikke. She's got, like, a couple of skins. She's got the no Red Hood nonsense, and then she, in the costume vote, was meant to get either a biker skin, but then we got the biker, like, countryside one, or whatever. So, like, I want to run Tia Naga Rupee Ein +1. Dude... So true, though. We do need another Gyadu. I think, technically... Oh, wait, you don't have Viper. Yeah, you could do Viper, but you do need a Burst 3. You do need a Burst 3, because Viper could fill in one of your spots there, but then you'd have to get rid of Naga, because it doesn't really work together in that kind of comp. I'm trying to think, who in Burst 3... I'll open up my Nikke. I've actually got it on a separate window over here. Is there anyone in Burst 3 that's actually a Gyadu? Let's see. It doesn't really look like it. Not really. I'm not counting any of the collab units, but I don't think any of them would be considered either way. I guess if we're going by skins, maybe some of them. Maybe? No, it doesn't really feel like we've got a whole lot of Gyadu Burst 3s. You could maybe... Ooh, actually... No, I was gonna say Cinderella, but she... isn't really a Gyadu personality. She's just got one of those, like, really trendy outfits or whatever as one of her skins. Yeah, and Ina's the only burst 3, exactly. There's not a whole lot. Now that I think about it, you're right. There's a severe lack of Gyaru. We need more. We need more. Also, I think one of my latest complaints about Nikke, and this is kind of minor, is Snow Crane. I really like Snow Crane, but her kit feels like it's year 1. That's not the issue, however. I don't care because I can read the character's story and I'll be happy. The issue is that why does she call me friend? She's not a kimono friend, but she calls me friend. I don't want to be called friend. I don't want to be called friend by Snow Crane. I want her to call me something else. I don't know. Call me contractor or whatever. Call me anything else. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. Why does Snow Crane call me friend? I don't like that. And we also need more tomboys. This is 100% true. More tomboys, more gyarus. We probably need, honestly, I think we need Gothic Lolita characters as well. I think we need more. I can't name a single one. I can't name a single Gothic Lolita one. We do kind of have a Shiro Lolita character with Flora, but kind of. I don't entirely agree with people's perception of that. So, maybe. Yeah, I wouldn't mind running a Gyaru plus Tomboy team. You should try Snow White then. Snow White is a really good Tomboy, I think. Of all the names she chooses, friend. Yeah, it just feels really impersonal. It doesn't feel very imaginative or anything like that. I was really surprised. I was like, dude, Snow Crane could have so many different like names or nicknames for the commander, but she chooses friend. And that kind of sucks. I was like, we've got so many different names that we play around with, and yet for whatever reason we just get friend. I don't know, it just seems really plain comparatively. Like, you've got Mattis with Birdo Boy, Villain, or was it Super Villain? I forget. You've got, like, Cadets with Moran. You've got, oh gosh, number 7 or Test Subject with Ether. You've got a whole bunch of different ones. But, I don't know, just being called friend? I don't know. Crust calls you Gourmand, and then, I don't know, the maids obviously call you Master, but that's fine, or whatever. I just think there's so many better names, and so on. So, but it's very essential for the tomboys to have a tan of visible tan lights and muscle tone. You're very focused on the exact right things, Helios. I completely agree. We do... Okay, that's one thing. Why do we not have a single tan line character? Do we even have a tan line character? I don't even think Clay has a tan line. I think Bay does, but Clay doesn't have one. They're both in the sun plenty, but there are no characters with tan lines. We need them. I saw someone edit the sports outfit for Sora to have like tan lines, and I was like, oh my gosh, if that was just a toggle, instant buy. I was really tempted to get the Sora skin, but I kind of held off on it because I thought to myself, Sora's kit isn't good enough. I don't use her enough, and I've already got like, I've got the one skin that I've ever bought. I actually have like more Nikke merchandise in real life than I've ever had of items bought in the game, but I don't use the character enough, or some of the characters enough, to justify or warrant getting their skins, so therefore I won't get most of their skins as a result. But if Sora had a tan, 100%. I think Sora could maybe be Gyaru, maybe, if you want to argue that. I'm not sure. Maybe it sounds better in Japanese or even in Korean. I'm not sure. I would have to check. I play with the game muted most of the time, so I've completely forgotten what she says or calls you in Japanese. I would have to double check in that case. But I think... Oh, I don't know. With Annie coming up, with half Annie coming up, we'll just have to see what comes as a result of it, because I can 100% see that we're gonna get a bunch of characters and everything. We still need to get some of the new campaign characters as well, and I think we're gonna get the new chapters coming out soon. So, we're getting some of the new campaign chapters. I'm kind of worried that like people just starting the game know of all these really unique and new Pilgrim characters that are coming out, and that kind of spoils the story. I don't know. Like, when I talk about Cinderella and whatnot, are you aware of, like, any of the context to them, Helios? Like, whatsoever? Because I feel, I worry that, is it spoiling it for you? I have no clue. I really have no clue. I can check out Nikkei open right now. I do too, actually. I have it on my second monitor. Yeah, of course, Kyaru would be best, but I'm willing to compromise with tomboys and ara-aras to make a functional team. That's 100% fair. No, I'm not. Okay. Yeah, I'm just making sure, because anytime like you join a gacha while it's had its first couple of anniversaries, you end up seeing a bunch of the anniversary units, and that kind of feels like it's spoiling characters and whatnot. Like, oh, why does this character have a new design? Why does this character have this for their design? Why does this character have this, and so on? And I feel like, does that kind of remove the context, or sorry, is there enough context attached to it that you would still understand or spoil things? So, I don't know. I don't know. I really wonder if maybe they should limit more of the events to newcomers in Nikkei, though it would be really unfortunate because I think some of the anniversary events are by far some of the best. However, they spoil so much. I would probably advise that for every anniversary event, it's probably best to just skip it entirely and ensure that you don't read them until you catch up with the latest chapters. It is just, I don't know. It's so much spoilers, and it kind of ruins some of the plot reveals. I don't know if it's going to be the same for this one, but it might be, because what might end up happening is that this Half Annie story will more than likely focus on Anise, which means that we'll also be getting a whole bunch of story spoilers to it, and the side story that we got of it. So, she says, "O tomodachi" in Japanese too? Okay. Unfortunate. I mean, like, maybe if she did a slangy way of saying it, or if she said it in a more, like, regal way, I could understand. But just "O tomodachi"? I'm not sure. Tomoyo or Aibo would have been so much better. Yeah. She could have said, like, I don't know, something like Shinyu or Mabudachi, but Mabudachi is more Gyaru, so that doesn't really make sense to say. But I feel like anything or any kind of variant that sounds more unique, I would have been in preference of. I think the main downside, right, is that this doesn't entirely translate into English well, and I don't mind that. I'm not going to get into the whole argument of localizers and translators and everything. I sometimes think that they should have just kept the Japanese text instead of translating it over into English instead, because why would I want to read, I don't know, just "Oh friend" if it's a variant of "friend," you know? Like, if it was going to be Shinyu or like Mabudachi or something else like that, or whatever, I would have thought that it might be better to keep it in Japanese at that point so that you can tell the difference between them. Aibo D's nuts. How dare you, Solsticks! Lurking all this time just to say that? That's messed up. That's messed up. Also, hello, Solsticks. Hope you had a wonderful weekend so far. Pointing out that it's a spoiler is spoiling it for me. Wait, which part? Oh wait, maybe that's a spoiler if I... Okay. I think I'm getting in my own head. It's a spoiler to talk about which part was a spoiler because it indicates or implies that one of the spoilers I spoke of was a spoiler. But yeah, I mean, my point, right, is that when it comes to half anniversaries and anniversary events in general, it is really difficult to kind of bar it from newcomers, because it spoils a whole bunch of the story, like the side story and whatnot, which is very plot significant. And kind of gives you a look into really recent chapters, because obviously it was released about now. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the best way to go about it is, but I feel like they need to add an archive section for some of these really story-significant events way earlier on. Actually, I think you can read the storyline events now really early on, even before it's been added to the archives to replay it, in essence. So maybe it's fine. I think if you guys are going to read some of the anniversary stuff, what you should do is just skip through it. Skip through it until you reach that point in the story, then read them. Because there is so much, so many spoilers. There are so many spoilers to it that I think it will ruin some of the reveals. I think so, anyway. I'm not too familiar with all the voice lines, but does one of the Gyarus actually refer to themselves as Utsi? I would have to re-listen to some of them because I'm not. It's not ringing any bells. It's not ringing any bells. Oh gosh. I play everything with JP VAs and then sometimes on JP text, but I genuinely do not remember. If there was one of them, I've not seen them in a recent enough event to know when or where they said it. But I don't think there's any that refer to themselves as Uchi. At least not that I recall, or not that I remember. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I don't think. Speaking as a day one Nikkei player, I could never be wrong. Never. Never wrong for once in my life. That would never happen. I could never be wrong about any of this stuff. I think the pinnacle experience to playing something like Nikkei, and especially any one of its anniversaries, is to skip it until you get to that point, then read everything in potentially release order. I'm actually more in favor of reading things in release order than I am of reading things in the chronological order. And the reason why I say this, for most cases, is because sometimes stories just make more sense with when they were released, because some of the spoilers to them are revealed way too early on in prequels and so on, which kind of just ruins the point, if I'm being honest. Like, why reveal some of the plot twists? Okay, so I kind of get this. If we frame it like this, right? Is it better to start with any series in chronological order or in release order? I would nearly always say release order, with a few exceptions. The reason why I say this is because most of the time, any plot-significant spoilers end up being spoiled by prequels or, very obviously, sequels, since they happen as an end result of some kind of action. However, I think some of the exceptions include things with very long release dates interspersed between each entry into a series, or whenever a series has enough obfuscation that you wouldn't be able to make it out anyway, which is kind of difficult to make sense of. And I'll give an example of each of these. So, for instance, when I say that there are exceptions, I think... Or no, I'll start with, like, the usual base case, just so that I can make sense of it for you guys. The base case that I would say you should always read a story in release order rather than chronological is if I gave you something like the Fate series or the Type Moon series. And the reason why I say this is because if you started with something like Fate Unlimited Blade Works or Heaven's Feel, you spoil the entirety of Fate Stay Night. If you were to start with something like Fate Zero over something like Fate Stay Night, you spoil the entirety of Fate Stay Night. If you were to start with something like, technically, Melty Blood, and then go into Tsukihime, you would also technically be spoiling yourself on a whole bunch of different plot points, even if there are some allusions to it. Additionally, you would probably be spoiling yourself if you played something like Nier Automata, then go to Nier Replicant, not the remake, but the original one, and have that happen. So, the Tsukihime anime doesn't exist. I know it's really sad that one doesn't exist for it, but I'm thinking more in sense of reading or playing through Melty Blood than playing through Tsukihime. as opposed to just watching. I'm just meaning like reading or consuming any kind of content within a particular order. But yeah, dude, we should get a Tsukihime anime. I think it would do numbers. I think it would do numbers. People loved Fate Strange Fake, and technically that was just like an April Fool's prank. An April Fool's prank where, for whatever reason, the Holy Grail Wars took place in America. What happened to it? It got a full A1 Productions anime, and it's already confirmed for a second season, and it has, like, what, 9 novels published for it? And it was originally an April Fool's joke. I mean, come on. Tsukihime would be so good. So good. Well, we're also never gonna get a Fate Extra or a Fate Extra remake. There's supposed to be a new one. I mean, making one. Wait, really? No, I need to check this. Are you not meeting Witch on the Holy Nights? Tsukihime anime? Let's see. Tsukihime anime. No, this is the 2003 one. Wait. Is there gonna be a new one? Let's check. News? No, I can't find anything. Maybe. Not sure where the progress is on it. I'm going to take the benefit of the doubt and believe you, and if so, then I'll be really super stoked about it, but if not, then I'm not sure. But anyways, back to like my examples of reading things in order of chronological or release dates. I think an exception, however, to this case is Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid seems like one of those franchises that had such interspersed timelines and release dates and entries into the series that attempting to figure out what's going on without reading it in chronological order feels like an entire ordeal. That is one of the exceptions that I will give. I think that, as well as... Ooh, would it be best to say Garden of Sinners? I'm not really sure. Garden of Sinners, I feel, is a very difficult one to kind of judge in that sense, because all of the movies and the visual novels, as well as, I think, light novels. I never played the visual novels, I only ever watched the movies, but man, it was confusing. I barely knew what was going on in it. The movies for the Garden of Sinners, I don't know. I can't understand some of it. It was just like jumping from every single time period. And while I did kind of understand like the general gist of what was going on, it was still a bunch of different things going on. To the point where it was like, oh yeah, this movie is a flashback, this one is not a flashback, but then you have a flashback to this one. So then it's like, technically it's... first movie, then second movie, but then it's the fourth movie into the seventh movie, into the fifth movie, into the sixth movie, then 9 and 10, and so on. Like, I don't know, some of the orders just really threw me off there. And I found that really confusing. I don't know if it's better to watch that in chronological or release order. I don't know what would make more sense. I was wondering what to do tonight before going to sleep. Just found out there's a new Hibike Euphorium movie coming this month. I'll be watching the whole series, I guess. Hibike Euphonium movie? I've never heard of this. What's that about? Also, hello, Virgil. Welcome. How have you been? How was your weekend so far? How was your weekend? I don't know. Oh, wait. I recognize this girl. I recognize this anime girl. I didn't know there were movies for this. I've also never watched this. I recall us having the entire lengthy discussion about slice of life and everything like that. So, yeah. I've never watched this. But Garden of Sinners was really cool. I have to say, if there's one thing that Nasu does really well, it's writing magic systems. But at the same time, oh my gosh, it gets really confusing. Really confusing at times. Just how the abilities work, what happens, what some of the abilities do. I won't even get started on what the difference is between void and imaginary magic in the Fate series. It is really weird to try and explain it because some of it just, like, doesn't fully make sense. Like, a part of it in the Fate series, oh yeah, the imaginary magic is anything that can't be perceived to be real, but you manifest it anyway, but then void magic is magic that you pull out of nowhere? I don't know. I can, like, try pull up the wiki page, but I don't have, like, a full grasp of it. Being chased by volatiles? Oh, still playing Dying Light then? Are you playing the first game in that case? I remember you posting clips in the Discord server about it. Gosh, it's so funny to drop kick some of the zombies and they just, like, go flying. I especially love whenever you combine it. It's like bowling pins. It is just bowling pins. You just knock them around and they go flying everywhere. It's a drama anime about a marching band club. A marching band club. And this band that marches. A marching band club. Becoming one? Becoming one what? A volatile? He's becoming volatile. Gonna have to put him down now. It's by Kyo Ani and it's giga beautiful. The art style looks pretty nice. It looks very cute. I don't know if it's my kind of anime though. But I can understand why people enjoy it. I think I'm just like not the biggest on slice of life stuff, but I completely understand why people get it. I'm trying to think back on what I was watching. Oh gosh, wait. Is this just Jover for me? Wait. Let's see. Can I save myself? Oh, please. I think no. I'm dead. I drew both of my fighting spirits. I'm just dead. Yeah. Welp. There goes my run. There goes my run. This encounter sucks. Easily one of the worst encounters in this entire game. I gotta say, that encounter sucks so bad. My gosh. Do I even get any of my drops? Okay, I do. Get a whole bunch of them anyway. Let's look. I thought that winning with Kirkin's Blessing is basically a guaranteed win, but it doesn't really seem like it. I seem to have just failed massively. Though I've nearly completed the Zero system. I'm so glad they added the Divine Interventions, because man, it is easier to fill up the Chaos Matrix. Unfortunate, however, it's got another 3 months until it resets. Oh my gosh, why? Why? So are you one of those filthy fantasy-only people? What? Filthy? How dare you? Slice of life is by far the best genre there is. How dare you, Helios? Do you know who you're talking to right now? You are talking to the #1 isekai sloppa consumer. I enjoy my isekai sloppa like no one else does. I enjoy my fantasy sloppa like no one else does. You would not believe the amount of sloppa I've put up with. Yes, I do. I do enjoy fantasy a whole lot. You know what's coming out that I'm really excited for? I'm really excited for Tower Dungeon. Tower Dungeon is a crazy good manga, but will it be any good animated? The PV looked pretty good. I gotta say that. I don't know if it will actually be any good animated though, because it's a very atmospheric manga. There's like some talking and whatnot in it, but it's not, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see, we'll see. Okay, then I'll give you some fantasy slice of life. You don't need to. Ooh, double! See, this is what I get for being right. See, the game's rewarding me. I'm like, yeah, fantasy is the best genre out there. I mean, think of it like this, right? Fantasy includes the entire Fate series. It includes the entire Type Moon universe. It includes Tsukihime. It includes Melty Blood. Yeah, it's got all of those. I mean, it's got a whole bunch of cool ones, right? Like we've got Jobless Reincarnation or Mushoku Tensei, and then we've got like ReZero. We've got a whole bunch of good ones. We got Overlord as well, right? I got dropped modded weapons by a barcode? What do you mean dropped modded weapons by a barcode? How does that work? Like, do people just join your game in Dying Lights and then give you a whole bunch of modded or invisible weapons? I remember that happening whenever I played some of what was it called? Oh yeah, Borderlands and Dead Island. I remember playing through Borderlands and Dead Island, and oh my gosh, the amount of modded weapons that you would get from randoms dropping them for you, so good. Except I didn't like playing with them. I thought it was really unfair, and playing through like Fort Knox with them, I thought that was also really unfair. So I don't know. Isekai Slop Yum. See? Solstix gets it. He gets it. My man. My fellow man of culture. We do in fact love Isekai Slop. Sentenced to be a hero? It's not Isekai Slop, though technically one character is isekai'd into the world of it, but he's lost his mind, so he doesn't retain any of his memories. Anyway, point being, that one is so good. I love fantasy. I love fantasy. Please don't use Mushoku Tensei as an example for a good isekai fantasy show. If anything, that show is the proof of the opposite. What? Wait, what? Why? Why do you think it's bad? I read 13 of the novels, and I thought it was really good. I know there are, like, contentious points in it, right? I know that. But I don't care. I'm there for the fantasy story and the world building. Oh my gosh, the plot twist. The plot twist was so good. I really liked the plot twist in the books. And I really liked all of the, I guess, character development or world building in some of that. I think it maybe I just really enjoy fantasy and whatnot as well. But I enjoyed Mushoku Tensei's novels. I enjoyed Overlord's novels. I loved Danmachi. Danmachi was so good. Or Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? The novelization is so good. It's so much dungeon exploring. It's so much like adventuring and all of the prep time that they have between. Like in the anime, they cut out most of the dungeoneering, which is kind of sucky. I really, really loved Season 3, I think it was, for it just focusing entirely on what goes on in the dungeon. My gosh, it was so good. It was everything I wanted it to be from when I read the novels. I loved Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, the novels. I'd never read the side novels though, or the extra stories. It never really interested me, because I only like focusing on a singular character and just going through that through its entirety first. Yup, that's what happened. Okay, yeah, fair enough. They just dropped a bunch of modded weapons though. I feel like that kind of ruins it. I don't know. I feel like, okay, maybe this is a weird take, but I think you guys have noticed me doing this in Devil May Cry. I very much refuse to like make a combat or an encounter unfair. Am I the only one that does that? What I tend to do, so if there's a busted system, like finding a meta in a game or a way that I can cheese something, I don't abuse it, or I don't use it whatsoever. If there's an infinite loop to gain a bunch of resources, I do not use it. I don't go out of my way to find these things either, because I like to play the game as maybe the devs intended, to see what their artistic vision was. I don't know if maybe I'm just like putting myself in a really weird mindset, but that's why I always feel like I have to create fair conditions between myself and an enemy. If an enemy can heal, I can heal. If the enemy revives, I can revive. If they can cheese me with moves, then I can cheese them with moves. But if they don't do that and they play against me like it's a human player respecting me, then I don't know. I don't have to do that. I find maybe something's wired wrong with me. But I do the same thing in like Elden Ring and the Dark Souls games. To be fair, I don't really watch anime anymore because most of the directors in charge of adaptations seem to be in a contest to see who can butcher their source material the most. How do you mean with that? I feel like, yes, that's sort of true, but it's more like they have to adapt some part of it and they can't adapt all of the books. Like, I would say that ReZero and some of Overlord, even though they cut out like a big chunk of what the books have, or even like Danmachi, I still think the animes do a good job of kind of representing what was going on with a large majority of the different like parts and arcs to the series and so on. I think so, anyway. I got gifted a bat which flings enemies in the air. That sounds really funny. Just like a knockback 1000 stick or whatever that you would get in Minecraft or something. I keep checking this page because there's a red dot, okay? I'm not doing this intentionally. I'm stuck in Groundhog Day. Keep clicking here because it's like, oh, would you look at Overdrive Simulation? Yeah, go to Overdrive Simulation. Then I'm like, okay, let me open up here. Oh, there's a new red dot, and I keep going back and forth here every single time. I'm losing my mind. I'm in Groundhog Day. I love romance slice of life. I just don't like romance whenever it keeps on, I think romance is best as a secondary plot. I think there needs to be a plot main to the series that's meta throughout, and then you have romance. Because if romance doesn't progress anywhere, then you've got like 5 episodes of nothing happening. Maybe that's my controversial or hot take. Actually, I'm not caught up on the manga, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. You're talking about things I don't understand here in regards to the manga or the anime. But yeah, I don't know. I do really enjoy my fantasy slop. But why do you dislike Mushoku Tensei or Jobless Reincarnation in that case, Helios? If I may ask. Because I'm not meaning like there aren't, for instance, contentious parts about it. Like whether or not you'd argue a 30-plus-year-old's mind getting thrown into the body of a child or whatever, and how he acts based on that. I don't know. I don't care. But the magic and the world building and the animation and everything, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. I like the stories and I like the, what's it called? The plot twist that was in the novels. At least for the first 13 or so novels that I read of it. Or books that I read of it. I have to bounce, but I hope you all have a great day. I hope you have a wonderful day as well. Take care, Okami. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I think I might be wrapping up soon as well. I don't think I've got enough time to start an entirely new run. So I'm just kind of clicking through menus and just kind of talking at the same time. What left? I'm also, wait. Trauma code? Oh, it's just the ones that I unlocked but never started. Protoss synchronization. So, in here, they've got these new ones. I'm already nearly done upgrading every single one of them. But doesn't this one feel disproportionately good compared to the rest of them? Is that just me? This one that's reducing the amount of time for policies, that one seems really good comparatively. I don't know. I don't know. That's like the best upgrade so far. I'm looking to fully max that out first. How much do I have? Yeah, I'll do this now. But I've gone on like a couple of tangents with this, just in general. Just my thoughts on like slice of life and fantasy and so on. I'm trying to think back on another one that I enjoyed. Sentence to Be a Hero was really good. I still need to re-watch the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure series. I don't know if those would be considered fantasy or if they'd be considered. Oh gosh, I think it is considered fantasy, right? It's not technically magic in a traditional sense. It's more like, what would I say it is? Like Mob Psycho is kind of in the same category. It takes place in contemporary times, but it also has supernatural abilities. Is it just supernatural as a tag? I wonder. Well, I'm one of those people who self-insert into stories, so I need a suitable character as a medium for that. The MC in Mushoku Tensei was such a vile POS that there wasn't a point for me to do so. There is actually an isekai manga that I really like. Which one is that? Which one is that? I don't tend to self-insert as some of the characters. I think reading some of the fantasy that I have, I just kind of disassociate. I've got some mangas where I tend to self-insert, and then some where I don't. And now I'm thinking about this, because when I think of Mushoku Tensei, I don't self-insert whatsoever. However, when I think of the ones that I do, they're not as wish fulfillment ones. Like, I would really want to be in the Fate universe. I think that would be so cool. But also really sucks because a beast could just destroy the world in like a blink of an eye, and that would just be it. But then I also think like I don't self-insert for that reason. So maybe I should make you read it? Wait, okay, I'm gonna say this. 勇者は召喚に巻き込まれたけど異世界は平和でした. I think I recognize the English name for this one. Wait, let's see. So, story about the hero in a peaceful world. Yeah, I got caught up in a hero summon, but the other world was at peace. I think I've seen this. Wait. Was there, or maybe I've read this? Did this get an anime, or am I thinking of a different one? No, it doesn't have an anime. Let's see. I can check my red manga list. Let's see. Where's my documents? I've got a whole bunch. Me neither. Yeah, I don't know. I've got some stories that I self-insert and some that I don't self-insert into. And I think for the most part, I don't self-insert. I do not. It's not a choice for me, though. My mind automatically does it, and I can't stop it. That's fair. I mean, again, that's like why people enjoy different kinds of things. Oh, actually, this is a curious question that I have. A curious question. A hypothetical, if you will. If you were to read a story, let's say it's not a manga, and let's say that it was purely or 100% written instead, Helios. If you read it as someone retelling a story, would you still self-insert? Or would you then think of them as a different person? As opposed to them describing what happens to them in first person. So instead, it's like Name of the Wind, for instance. That one has the retelling of the stories of Quoth, which kind of creates a disassociation. Does it? Or do you still tend to self-insert as a result? So I generally felt filthy watching Mushoku Tensei that I had to stop. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I think the books were probably better, but I did like the animation of the animes. Let's see, where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. I think I've read The Other World Was at Peace. But here we go. No, that's not it. Okay. I'll just see if I can find it based on this. No, maybe I haven't read it. Is it on my to-read list then? Okay, I can give it a look-see. I can give that manga a look-see, I think. I like my isekai slop and my fantasy. My fantasy stuff I enjoy a lot. Also, because I'm just talking now, I may as well throw on this while we've got it going. So I'm just doing this. Don't worry, we've still got a minute. We've still got a singular minute left and whatnot, but I'm just throwing it up here, just in case, so that I can not have to listen to the impactful music of the Arc, or whatever it's called, Arc City in Chaos Hero Nightmare, as I wrap up stream and so on. Well, I don't have much experience with text-only stuff, since I absolutely hate walls of text, which is why I'm not on Twitter. That's kind of fair. And I only read manga. Yeah. I think I was kind of like that in the beginning as well, but oh my gosh, I really hate mangas and some comics that are just walls of text. Like, I'm thinking back to me trying to read through Ubelblatt, and that one was so difficult to get through, because it would be like 5 pages of like awesome combat, and then it would be 5 pages of just politics, where there was like 90% of the page filled up with text boxes. It was like Hunter x Hunter, the Ascension arc, or whatever it was called, where it was just a whole bunch of the various hunters just discussing politics. It drove me insane, but like Ubelblatt was so guilty of doing it so often as well, and I was like, being recommended it because I had read like so much fantasy manga at the time. I could not get through it. I genuinely could not. And then the anime came out, and I've yet to watch that, so. Bah! A player zombie invaded me. I've not been invaded by a single player zombie yet, but then again, I'm not sure. Maybe they just don't show up. I need to start reading novels again. I haven't touched Ubelblatt in so long. Weird to hear someone mention it. Dude, there are so many, like, old series, because I think Ubelblatt is one of the few that finished, and also I feel like it gained somewhat of a relevancy again because it got an anime. So that's kind of why, like, I'm bringing it up, because I know that Clevates as well got an anime, and I kind of like the anime, but I think the manga for that was really good. Centurion, I am super excited for. Tower Dungeon, Centurion, and Little Witch Hat Atelier. I'm so looking forward to all of these getting animes, because I loved both the light novels and the mangas. Oh my gosh. Centurion, I'm so looking forward to. It really feels like a very classic fantasy, so very dark and gritty. It's a little bit like I don't know, the vibes it has is a bit like, oh god, what was the one with Fushi in it? To Your Eternity? I think that was it. To Your Eternity. My gosh, I love the anime for that. I love the manga for that, but the anime as well, really good job that they did. Maybe I should try light novels at some point, but the last time I tried it didn't work for me still. I think you need to find something that really grips you and that you just need more of. For instance, I think Overlord was that for me. I watched the first season and I was like, dude, this rocks. And then I tried finding manga for it and it was like barely progressed. So then I was like, okay, I'll try giving the novel a read. And I sat through like a couple of chapters and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy good. This is crazy good. And there's like way more content to it. And then I began reading like Infinite Dendrogram. I began reading Danmachi. I began reading like a whole bunch of random ones on... Oh, what's the website called? Because I started reading the web novel version of Overlord because it had more content, and I found out that they removed some of the Sisters of Albedo in that, and it was so good, man. Oh, it has an anime? Are you meaning Clevates? Yeah, because that one came out. But Centurion, I think, is getting an anime. Centurion anime, or is it Centuria? Yeah, Centuria anime. I think it was announced. No, okay, wait, no, it wasn't. Huh. Never mind. I really hope that Centuria gets an anime adaptation. It's so good! It's also got a tall, muscular lady in it, like, Noi. And my gosh, I love when they do that. Ooh, that was made for me. No, Overlord wasn't even enough for me to finish the anime. Man, I thought it was just funny. It's just a good time, you know? Plus, I love Albedo. I had a hard time reading novels, but have to keep searching for one that will hook you. Yeah, I think you really need it. Like, if you try looking for one, I think you should try going onto, like, novel updates. It's an amazing site. Maybe I'll just, like, make a video or something or a short on this, how I go about finding a whole bunch of different mangas to read or light novels to read. But I go through, like, the Novel Updates website. I go through very specific tags rather than categories because the tags will be so much better. Like, you can have... I think that's how I found Wisteria as well. My gosh, it was so good. Also, good night, Virgil. Good night. I hope you have a wonderful last part of your weekend. Much less wanting to read source material. Yeah, I mean, as long as you get hooked on it, right? Good taste. Thank you, Solstix. I see I'm in good company here. Any book recommendations? If you're meaning light novels, ooh, it depends on what you're looking for. I would think that because I've read a whole bunch of light novels, but I've not read as many Western fantasy novels. I tried getting into the Stormlight archives, but I don't know, it just didn't mesh with me. Then I tried getting into Stephen King's Dark Tower stuff. It didn't mesh with me whatsoever. I really feel like you just have to find something that clicks with you. I dropped those so fast because I've read so much slopper that it was difficult to get into them because as soon as my mind triggers something and it's like, oh, I don't want to read this. I don't want to read this anymore. I think I don't like fantasy. Then that becomes really difficult for me to recommend you something. Do you want contemporary? Is contemporary fine? Possibly? Maybe? Because if it's contemporary, then I can kind of suggest the Fate series, in which case I would probably recommend Fate Zero. It's not as super high fantasy. I feel like whenever Fate takes place in the modern world, it feels more supernatural than it does. Like, I would then super duper duper recommend Garden of Sinners, because it's got some supernatural elements. It's not nearly as high fantasy as Fate. I would say some parts of Tsukihime, though definitely not the endings or anything of it. No, that's way different. That gets like way high fantasy. So, yeah, I think the problem is that most of the stories I really like don't have light novels to begin with. That is definitely a problem. You might have to check for the web novel versions then. So, Wait, do I have a tab on it? I've got like 500 tabs open or something. Okay, so I've got Syosetu open, which is a Japanese web novel website where you can read some of the like original web novels that are written by the amateur authors and whatnot before they even get a light novel, before they even get a serialization of any kind. I read some of my stuff there, and eventually they get renamed and I find them as a manga or as a light novel, and then I reread them again. I think this has only happened to me once or twice though. I remember it being about some kind of VR MMO game that people get transported or sucked up into, and for whatever reason, it was about, obviously the main character is Japanese, but then also a Russian guy that gets sucked up into it, and they're like best friends. They get trapped in this really brutal fantasy world, and that one I read on Syosetu like years and years ago, and then I eventually found out it has light novels now, and I just began reading that, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe. So it was really good. I want to try the Crow comics. The Crow. Let's see. What's that? Also, what does contemporary mean again? Contemporary means that it takes place within the modern day or in modern society. You can imagine it as like Mob Psycho is contemporary supernatural, because it takes place in the modern world with a bunch of Esper abilities. So yeah, just modern times generally. Manga okay? Yeah. Manga is okay for some of the... I don't think the one I was thinking of had a manga. Centuria is a really good... It's not contemporary fantasy, but it's a really, really good fantasy one. I think there was one that I read, Sir S.E. something. I would need to find it. There was one that had like really, really cool arts. I think the mangaka was inspired by old fantasy novels, like Western fantasy novels, and then tried to base his art style on it. I need to look for it. It's apparently not in my read list, and it was so good. Or does it have to be text only? So on Syosetu, it's all text because it's written by like amateur authors and everything. But I think manga is just as fine. What I do is I will, depending on what I'm feeling for, I will go on novel updates. I will then find a series, see if it has a manga, if I'm feeling for a manga, or I'll just go to like Syosetu and find the web novel and then just like read a couple hundred chapters of that. Should the whole Shin Megami Tensei series fit this? Ooh. Maybe. I don't know, then you can kind of extrapolate that JRPGs, whenever they have text boxes and everything, kind of fit into that category, right? Like, because you're just reading a whole bunch of text boxes, that would be like saying you can eventually or inevitably fit most of the Final Fantasy games into being some form of text-based game just because it has some seldom interactions like that, or you can make the extrapolation that visual novels are more novels than they are, you know, visual. Play the visual novel? Wait, there's a visual novel for Shin Megami Tensei? Shin Megami Tensei visual novel. What? What? No official one exists. Or what do you mean? I would probably have to emulate some of the older ones. At least. But maybe they'll release it one day. One day. Let's see. Oh, yes, Shin Megami Tensei fits into the contemporary category. No, I mean into contemporary, yeah, since it does play into the modern world, but same with Fate. Yes, exactly. They are all contemporary. They fit into the same category. So, yeah. It doesn't really matter, like, by what medium or means you read or consume it in, so long as it takes place in the modern world, yeah. Shin Megami Tensei and Fate, I would say, are contemporary fantasy, because they have a whole bunch of fantasy elements to them, enough so that it's like distinguished from being supernatural. Like, I would say JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is like teetering the line of being fantasy with some of the locations and fantastical elements to it, as well as some magic existing. Well, D6 asked for books, no? Yeah, I thought you were replying to me. I thought you were replying to me. Whoops. Which is why I asked if manga was okay, if it needs to be text only. If manga is allowed, Well, I imagine that because he reads comics that it should probably be fine, right? To recommend some manga for that reason. Otherwise, if not, then I would still be able to recommend like most of the... I would probably be able to make the cop-out, oh, just read like the light novel version instead, you know? Also, I realize now that my read/in-progress list of all the mangas that I'm following don't have some of the chapters that I'm on. Like, I know I've read like 400 chapters of Black Clover and then I dropped it, but, you know. Yeah, I only read the DMC5 manga and a few chapters of Berserk. Dude, Berserk is crazy good, though. Did you not like it? Did you not continue it? But yeah, let's see if I can find something particularly good that isn't fantasy. Oh, actually, if I'm thinking of a manga that's really good that isn't fantasy, I would probably say Boy's Abyss. I really love... Maybe I'm just drawn to tragedies and misery, but Boy's Abyss is a really, really good read. I really liked it. Even if it is heart-wrenching and really sad and, like, makes me annoyed, I think the fact that it makes me feel that strongly is what I enjoy about it. It's just really good. It was during high school and I quit because of time restraints. Oh, fair. It is quite long. It is quite long. Boy's Abyss is really good. I don't know if this counts as fantasy. It's more like, what if My Hero Academia was dark? Chojin X is really good. I like Chojin X. Claymore is also a really good one. I don't know if I would say it's very high fantasy. It's like... It is fantasy because there are demons and there are special abilities, but it's like Berserk levels of fantasy. It's more like dark, gritty fantasy and so on. Maybe I'll try it again when it gets finished. Berserk won't ever be finished. I am so sorry. It's never gonna be done. Never. Suffering is always tasty. We do enjoy a little bit of suffering, except Grimdark. I feel like Grimdark kind of sucks because there's no hope, but suffering, when there's like a reason to suffer, is so good. It's peak. Blue Period. I recognize the name, but maybe I'm blocking it out of my memory. Blue Period. What was that? Oh, that doesn't give me a synopsis. I don't know. If you want suffering, Your Lie in April. Honestly, this might be probably one of my most controversial takes. I didn't really enjoy Your Lie in April. I felt like most of it was just issues with communication, and that really annoyed me. Or some of it was communication issues that spiral out of control, and that really annoyed me. Like, some of the other parts were, like, fine, but I don't know. I get why people enjoy it, but it wasn't for me. Clannad is really good. Clannad After Story, After Story, so good, so good. Now the assistant got it. Plastic Memories. You should read, or watch as well. Watching is also really good. Shinsekai Yori. Oh my gosh, or From the New World, its English name. Oh my gosh, super underrated. People will, if you mention that, if you say, because that's my favorite. I completely forgot that it's kind of fantasy. It's kind of fantasy, which is why I wasn't sure to bring it up, but it's more like supernatural. You'll see why. Because technically it's post-apocalypse. But From the New World, or Shinsekai Yori, oh my gosh, if you say that, if you say you've read that, people will know you know ball knowledge. Oh my gosh, it is so good. I love From the New World. It is by far one of my favorites. There's also another really good post-apocalyptic story that also has like supernatural fantasy elements called Killing Me, Killing You. I really enjoyed that one as well. Also quite good. Which one are you replying to here? Isn't that a rom-com? Yeah, Your Lie in April is kind of one. If by rom-com you mean you get depressed for weeks after watching it, then sure. If a little fantasy is okay, then Violet Evergarden. I still have that on my need-to-watch list. I don't know how I still haven't gone around to it. I keep forgetting it every time. I started rewatching Generator Rex, my favorite cartoon since I was a kid. I feel like we've had this conversation before, but my memory is that of a goldfish. So, Generator Rex. I recall this vaguely. I'm trying to think now, anything else that is slightly not super high fantasy, but because I've mostly read fantasy. There is. I'm wondering if the manga adaptation of the Epic of Gilgamesh is what I'm thinking of, or if it's a different interpretation. Gantz is really good. I feel like that's a classic. That one's worth reading. I don't think we had... Oh, no, maybe we spoke of Ben 10. I think we might have spoken of Ben 10, because we spoke of, or we had a discussion on, like, Nickelodeon shows and everything like that, and Cartoon Network and so on. I did read the hack mangas as well. Also, no, that's another fantasy one. I was gonna say, How I Stalked Some Dude with an Exposed Nipple and Stumbled Upon the Zenithian Sword is really good, but that is a Dragon Quest reference and also a really good fantasy manga. It started as a joke, but then it became like a fully fledged series. What else? What else do I have? I have Jagan. That one was also quite good. I think that one might be fantasy, though. Or at least supernatural. Made in Abyss is very fantasy. Monster is a really good one. It's a classic. I feel like that one should be mentioned as well. Ergo Proxy is more sci-fi. That one's really good. Yeah, that's all that's coming to mind for me now. I don't really know. I don't really know otherwise. I don't know if I would consider something like Reincarnating or Record of Ragnarok, because that's kind of fantasy, even though it's talking about like different historical figures and like fantastical things happen as a result of it. So... Ben 10 and Generator Rex are made by the same people and even had a crossover. I had no clue. I watched Monster. Monster is good. Psycho-Pass, yes! Psycho-Pass is crazy good. Ergo Proxy, also really good. Darker Than Black, also really good. I guess you can go with, like, if we're just, like, naming some of the classics, Death Note's also good. Maybe not when you get to, like, the Nier saga, but yeah. I guess if you want to... No, that's fantasy. Why do I keep doing this? I would have to give it some thoughts as well for, like, quintessential ones. Not to be confused with quintessential quintuplets, but whatever. Either way, we've gone, like, 20 minutes over the amount of time that I usually stream for. So I think... I'm going to wrap it there. Erased could also be good, but I felt like it was very obvious. I felt like Erased had a very obvious plot twist, and I didn't like it because of that. I thought it was pretty good, like, overall, until it was like, oh, the one thing that you thought would be the plot twist was actually the plot twist, and I was like, okay. Well, I figured it was that from, like, the second episode, so that really sucks. Nemazine, or however it was written? I think so. I liked the second part of Death Note. I think it was just... not as well done in the anime. I think the manga did it fine. I don't think the anime did, though. But yeah. I'm going to wrap things up there, because otherwise I'm going to be talking about series and manga forever, because I love all of these different things. So, I'm going to leave with that. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you think my opinions were based, then feel free to let me know. If you disagree with me, then don't let me know, because I'm right, and you're wrong, and I'm always right, and that's just how we roll. Anyway, I kid. But thank you so much for today. Today we played a little bit of a Chaos Zero Nightmare while I just spoke about anything and everything, as I usually do. Tomorrow, I'm going to still be playing as Virgil in Devil May Cry 5, trying to beat Dante. Oh my gosh. And we'll also... I'll see how long it takes me to beat him, but I am going to tally the amount of times. It might be a little bit of a shorter stream if I manage to beat him, but I also need to get all of the blue orbs. And then on Tuesday, you guys will be fully controlling Devil May Cry 5 whichever character, either Virgil or Dante, and trying to beat the corresponding character, Dante or Virgil, in that respective order. And then we'll see. We will see. Hopefully, you guys don't suck as much as I do, but also, I don't think you guys are going to be able to do it. I'll see you guys on Monday at the exact same hour, or like 2 hours prior to now, with some more Devil May Cry 5 with chat influence. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, or a wonderful start of your week, and a start of your week. Otherwise, bye-bye! Bye-bye!